This video is for educational purposes only. All the attacks that were performed in this video was performed in a controlled virtual lab environment. We have used virtual machines on an isolated private network to carry out these attacks. The presenter is not responsible for any misuse of the information presented in this video and does not support any malicious hacking activities. Please keep in mind hacking systems is a cybercrime and will land you in prison if you misuse any of these tools on systems for which you don't have permission. So please use all these tools wisely. Let's move on to the demonstration now. Hello and welcome back to another session on cybersecurity. In this session, we're going to take a look at how to hack a Wi-Fi network and retrieve the password. So in my previous session, I was talking to you about all these protocols, WEP, WPA and WPA2. And we went through this important concept called the four-way handshake. Four-way handshake between the access point and the client. So we discussed a lot about the Wi-Fi security protocols. I want you to first visit my lecture on these protocols so that you have an understanding of how exactly or what exactly we are performing with respect to Wi-Fi hacking. So you need to understand what a four-way handshake is and what information is shared between the access point and the client before really coming into this specific demo. So in this demo, what we are going to see is we'll see how to use the tools with respect to Aircrack-ng. So we'll be using all these tools like AirMon-ng for monitoring a Wi-Fi network. We'll also be using AeroDump-ng for dumping all the data for the access points within a range. We'll also use AirPlay-ng and we'll use Aircrack-ng for finally cracking the password of the Wi-Fi network. AirPlay-ng is for de-authentication of the devices associated with a specific network we are targeting. So we'll be using the list of tools here and we'll be trying to hack and get the password for an Wi-Fi network. So here we are going to establish our own Wi-Fi network and attack it. So we're not targeting any networks that we don't have permission for. So we are well within our limits and I want you to follow the same. So now let's go to the demonstration. So this is the architecture for a demo. I have my host Windows OS and on this I have my Oracle VirtualBox 7.0 and on this I have installed Kali Linux 2024. So Kali Linux is going to be used in our attacks and Aircrack-ng will be running on Kali Linux. And we have our own wireless network setup and the SSID for my network is Satish Wi-Fi and I have a client device connected to this access point in my network. So we have our own network and from Kali Linux we'll use an wireless USB adapter. We'll be using an TP-Link adapter here and this adapter will be first put on monitor mode. And then this adapter along with Kali Linux with a set of tools will be used for monitoring the network. Say we'll monitor the network and we'll de-authenticate. What do you mean by de-authenticate is we will disconnect all the devices connected to this access point. By that we'll force the devices to connect again. While they are connecting again, we'll be capturing the WPA handshake file from them. And then we will take the WPA handshake file that will be inside our Kali Linux and we'll use tools like Aircrack-ng to capture the Wi-Fi password from that specific information we have received. So this is the overall process. So I have segregated this entire process into 4 steps. Step 1 is we'll see I've already shared videos on how to install Oracle VirtualBox and Kali Linux on Oracle VirtualBox. These things I've already shared with you. If you're not clear with these things, please refer to my lectures. I'll be leaving the link for those lectures below. So you should be able to install and have Kali Linux ready. So step 1 is we'll use this USB adapter. We'll configure this USB adapter with Kali Linux so that Kali Linux recognizes this adapter. So that is step 1. and then we'll put this adapter in the monitor mode. So we'll configure Kali Linux to take an wireless USB adapter, and we'll configure such that this adapter is in monitor mode. That is step 1. And what will be your step 2 is we'll see how to establish our own network. So here I have a TP-Link router which acts as my access point. So TP-Link router, and here the client device is my old mobile phone which I'm going to have and connect. So my router is going to, so my network is going to contain a router and a client device which is a mobile phone connected to the router. That is step 2, how to set up our own Wi-Fi network. So I'm going to explain on that too. And step 3 is, after our network is set up, we'll be seeing how we can monitor this network, how we can get the data, how we can dump the data about the access points, say MAC address, the channel info, all that info related to the access point, the SSID, BSSID, all those things will be dumping. We'll be monitoring and dumping using tools like AirmonNG and AeroDumpNG. And we'll de-authenticate devices from the network. What is de-authentication? Disconnect all the devices forcefully from the access point. For this, we'll be using tools like AirReplayNG. And finally, we'll capture the handshake. So when they again connect, we'll capture the handshake file, and that handshake information will be used for cracking the Wi-Fi password. So we'll use tools like Aircrack-ng to crack the Wi-Fi password. So cracking the Wi-Fi password will be our final step, step 4. So we'll take a look at this demonstration in these 4 steps. Now let's go to step 1. So before going into the step 1, the software requirements for this demonstration is I have Windows 10 and Oracle VirtualBox 7 and Kali Linux 2024. So the hardware requirements is, of course, you need a system, and then you need this wireless USB adapter. So I'm using this TP-Link adapter which I'll be using with Kali Linux, and this adapter will be put up in the monitor mode to monitor our Wi-Fi traffic. And here I have a wireless router which will be my access point in my Wi-Fi network, and the wireless router, actually I am giving the input for my wireless router using mobile 1 which acts as an hotspot. See, this is optional. See, for my wireless router I'm just extending the hotspot from my mobile 1 since I wanted to have a router to be an access point. So here the input for my router is like the hotspot from my mobile 1. I have a mobile 1 hotspot which I'm extending using router, and that is a TP-Link router which acts as my access point. And this mobile 2 is my client device connected to this router. So this is how I set up my own mobile network, and these are the hardware requirements. Now let's begin with step 1. What is that? Configuring USB adapter with Kali Linux. As I've already explained, step 1 is you should have this environment ready, Kali Linux installed, and next you should have your USB adapter, that is the TP-Link adapter. Now we'll configure Kali Linux to pick up this adapter. So this is the adapter I'm using, that is a TP-Link wireless USB adapter for this demo. So when you talk about the adapter, the use of a wireless USB adapter, so what is the use of this is it helps us to connect your device to a wireless network. So from Kali Linux I can directly connect to an wireless network. Here the use of this specific adapter is monitor mode. So we are going to passively monitor the network. So here the adapter supports monitor mode. So when you talk about USB adapters, normally they support 2 modes, managed mode and next one is monitor mode. What is the use of managed mode is? It is like you have this, let me erase the ink on the slide. So you may be wondering why so much theory, why not the demo? Because we should be understanding this theory to just have a good info or insight in the demo. So that's why I'm giving you this info. So what is the use of an adapter? See, we plug in an adapter, that is this TP-Link adapter. So this is my laptop and where Kali Linux is running on VirtualBox. So when it is in managed mode, what is the use of an adapter? The adapter is used for connecting to an, say this is a Wi-Fi network. So there are some access points available. So from Kali Linux, we can directly connect to an Wi-Fi network using the normal process. You have an SSID and then you have a password for connecting to a network. So that is the normal use of an wireless USB adapter from Kali Linux, where you're going to access this adapter. You can connect to a network. That's the normal usage. But when it is in monitor mode, we are not going to connect to the network using an SSID and passphrase. We are just going to be monitoring. Say we are going to just monitor what is the access point, what are the clients, and we'll be able to monitor or sniff the access point's MAC address. We'll be able to sniff the channels, the channel info. We'll be able to get some data about the network we are sniffing. So monitor mode is actually used for analyzing or sniffing information about the network. Whereas managed mode is the normal mode wherein we use an adapter and then we connect to the network. So that's what we have told here. So managed mode is the default operating mode for most wireless USB adapters. You use a wireless USB adapter, you'll be able to connect to the internet. Whereas in monitor mode, it's used for packet sniffing and analysis, allowing the adapter to capture all wireless traffic within its range without participating in the network. So when we are using this kind of a mode, what it does is if you have an access point nearby, it will be able to uh, get more information about this access point. It's like MAC address, SSID, BSSID, all that info without being connected to the network. Not only that, we can also disconnect all the devices connected to this access point. We can capture the four-way handshake information when devices connect back to the network. So a lot of things we can do with monitor mode. So for this demonstration, what is important is you should get an adapter that supports monitor mode, or else this demo is not going to work for you. So that is step one. I hope you are now clear with step one. Now let's take up a demonstration on how to set up this wireless USB adapter with Kali Linux. We'll see how to perform this. Let's take a look at the demo now. So here we have our TP-Link wireless USB adapter. So I'm just going to connect this adapter to my laptop. So here I have connected and you'll be seeing this flashing light. Now after connecting this, we should go to a Kali Linux on VirtualBox, and then we should make some settings. We should make some changes to our settings. So we'll first select the network. We'll see to that we are connected to the NAT network here. And we're not making any changes here. I leave that to the default. And next thing is I have enabled this USB controller. I've checked the USB 2.0 option. So this is the second check I have done. And next we'll go to system. We'll ensure that the network option is checked for us. So this is the third thing that should be checked. Once when that is done, you can start your Kali Linux. You'll start your VM now. So Kali Linux will be running, and now you open terminal, and then you have to check this. Say check the corresponding option for your USB under devices. So here I have checked Realtek 802, and now we'll go and check our IP address. So here you see WLAN 0 is available for us, but the state is down. So this is an important thing. WLAN 0 should be available to you. And when you take a look at IW config, when you perform, you can see you're able to see WLAN 0 in the managed mode. By default, it will be in the managed mode. Now we should change the mode to monitor mode. I've discussed what is monitor mode and managed mode in the earlier slides. So now we are just changing the mode to monitor mode. Even before actually changing the mode to monitor mode, we should kill any conflicting processes. So this is one important step. Before changing the mode to monitor mode, we should be running a command to kill any conflicting processes we have. So let's perform that. Let me delete this line. And the command we are going to run is sudo aircrack-ng check kill. So this is going to kill any conflicting processes. Just running that, enter the root password. Okay, so we have killed certain processes. Now we'll move our USB adapter to the monitor mode. See, by default, the USB adapter is in which mode? It's in the manage mode. Now we are changing the mode to monitor mode. For that, we are going to run a very simple command, sudo aircrack-ng start WLAN 0. So WLAN 0 is the wireless adapter interface that has been enabled for us. So now you can see monitor mode enabled for WLAN 0. So we have enabled monitor mode. You can also verify that by typing iwconfig. And you can very well see here for WLAN 0 for a wireless interface, monitor mode has been enabled. So this is a very important step. This is step number 1. So we have achieved step 1, a very important step. We should be enabling monitor mode for our wireless USB adapter. So step 1 we have seen. Now let's move on to step 2, setting up our own wireless network. See, we are not supposed to sniff on to networks that we don't have permission for. So here I have set up my own network. So this is the setup. This is the setup for my wireless network. So this is actually step 2. What is step 2? Step 1 we have already done. Step 2 is setting my own access point and then my own devices connected to the access point. So we are going to sniff information about this network. We'll see how to set up this network. So this is the architecture for my network. That is, I have mobile phone 1 which has got the hotspot enabled. And this is given as an input to my TP-Link router, which you are able to see here. And this router actually acts as an Wi-Fi extender for my hotspot enabled here. And the SSID for my extended Wi-Fi network is Satish Wi-Fi. And I have another mobile phone which is connected to my router as a client. So this is my access point, this is my client, and this is actually the access point and the client I'm going to attack. And I have used a mobile phone hotspot as an input to my router. So you can very well ask me, why can't you directly use your mobile phone alongside with another mobile phone connected to the hotspot? You can do that, but I really wanted to experiment with a router. The router will mostly be the access points, right? So I just wanted my experiment to be on a router. So I have used a router. I have enabled an hotspot on a mobile phone, use that as an input for my router. And I have used a client device, which is my old mobile phone, which is connected to this access point. So I'll be explaining all these steps. First, we'll see how to enable hotspot. See, enabling hotspot is an optional thing. If you have your own router with an input for the router, if you have internet on the router, or else you can connect to your client devices to the router, this step you can skip, but this is how I have set up my wireless network. So first let us see how to enable hotspot for my device 1. The next step we are going to see is how to configure this TP-Link router to act as an Wi-Fi extender, and how to enable this Wi-Fi network Satish Wi-Fi with the SSID Satish Wi-Fi. So this is step 2, configuring the router to act as a Wi-Fi network extender for the hotspot from device 1. And the third step is we are going to connect this client to our router. How to connect this client to this extended network with the SSID Satish Wi-Fi. See, you can skip this entire step if you have your own personal wireless network which is ready to attack. If you don't have your own wireless personal network, you can follow these steps to set up your own wireless personal network. So for this, we need some hardware devices like a router and some mobile phones or devices to connect to your access point. So now let us take a look at this step, how to enable hotspot for device 1. So we'll see that how to enable hotspot on a mobile phone. Very simple step, but still I have a video for that. Let's take a look at it. On my mobile, I select network and internet. Then I go to hotspot and tethering. Now I select Wi-Fi hotspot. I switch it on and I click on Wi-Fi hotspot. There is an hotspot password setup and the band here is 2.4 gigahertz. So we have our hotspot enabled now on the mobile phone. So our first step is ready, enabling hotspot on device 1. Now let's see how to configure our TP-Link router to act as an Wi-Fi extender for this hotspot we have enabled. And thereby we will also set up this Wi-Fi network with the SSID Satish Wi-Fi. Let's take a look at that now. So here is the router which I am going to use as an access point, and this router has got two inputs. The black wire is the power input and the second input is the Ethernet cable which I have connected to that specific port. So here is that router. The very first step is we have to power on our router. So I will be connecting it to a power source. And you can very well see the router is switching on. Yeah, it's switching on. Now I'll take the other end of that Ethernet cable and I'll connect it to my laptop. We are doing this process just because we need to configure router. We need to make some changes to the router. So I'm connecting the other end of the Ethernet cable to my laptop. And now this connection is done. We'll now move on to our laptop. We'll open the browser and then we'll type the URL for a router which is available in the router's manual. When you go through the router's manual, you'll be able to get this URL, and we'll give an username and password which is admin and admin normally. So after logging in, we should be selecting the operation mode. See, the router is going to act as an Wi-Fi extender for my mobile hotspot which we have enabled. So we'll be selecting range extended here and we'll click on save option. Next, we'll select the wireless option available to the left and we should be connecting to our mobile hotspot. So we'll scan for available networks and I'm able to see my mobile hotspot. So I'll be connecting to this hotspot now. From the router, I'm connecting to my hotspot and I should be entering my password. So I'll enter the password as Satish CJ. Normally my passwords are not this easy, but anyway, this is for demo. Click on save. So the step here is we are connecting to our hotspot that is enabled. And now after connecting, our router acts as an range extender. So we click on extended network in the options and then we give the SSID for our extended network as Satish CJ Wi-Fi. See, I'm going to target this network, wireless network with the SSID Satish CJ Wi-Fi, and any device that connects to this network uses the password Satish CJ, and we click on save. So the SSID for my network which I'm going to target is Satish CJ Wi-Fi. So that is done. Our step 2 is done. So we have completed step 1, we have completed step 2 in our setting up of wireless network. And the final step is we should have a device connected to our access point. So I'm going to take my old mobile phone. I'm going to access this Wi-Fi that is Satish CJ Wi-Fi which we have enabled here. So that is the extended network. So our mobile device will connect to this Wi-Fi using the password Satish CJ. So that is the final step. It's a very simple step, connecting to an Wi-Fi network from a mobile phone which we all know. Anyway, I have a video for that too. Let's take a look at that now. So here I have my mobile phone which I'm going to connect to the extended network on my router. So I'm enabling Wi-Fi and see, I have this Satish CJ Wi-Fi. This is the extended network from my router. So I'll be entering the password Satish CJ here to connect to my network. And ignore that black dot on the screen, it's a very old mobile phone. Just I'm using these things for the test purposes. So I'm connected to my extended network here. The SSID is Satish CJ Wi-Fi. So I'm connected to my router. So I'll check that. I'll go to the browser, and you can see I'm connected to the internet here. So that's it. We have set up our wireless network. So we have finished setting up our Wi-Fi network. What is the SSID for a Wi-Fi network? It is Satish CJ Wi-Fi, and all these steps are done. So when you take a look at the steps which we have completed, we have finished step 1. We have finished setting up a wireless network, that is step 2. Now we should take a look at step 3. What are the steps in step 3? We have to monitor the access points. So using our adapter and Kali Linux, we'll use tools to dump information about access points. We'll disconnect the devices connected to the access point, and then we'll force them to connect again. Once when they are connecting again, we'll capture the WPA handshake file. So these are the steps in step number 3. Let's take a look at those steps. The first thing is we will dump the information regarding the access points within our range using our USB adapter. Let's discover the access points within our range. For this, we'll be running some commands using Aircrack-ng. So let's start with that. So the command here is sudo Aircrack-ng wlan 0. So this is going to dump information about all the access points within our range. I'm just blocking the information about other access points which is not of interest to us. See, I have dumped information about Satish CJ Wi-Fi, the SSID which I have set up, and the information BSS ID is the MAC address for my Wi-Fi network, and the channel here is 11. So we should have this information, the BSS ID, the channel, and then the SSID. So now we should be capturing the handshake information between the victim and the access point. So handshake information contains the data which we are going to capture that in a file, and then we'll try and crack the password. So for capturing handshake information, we are going to run this command sudo aircrack-ng, and then we'll be writing the handshake information to a file, that is -w output. The file name is output, and the channel is 11. So this channel information we have got from a previous aircrack command, and the BSS ID also we have got from aircrack-ng wlan 0 command which we executed previously. So we give the BSS ID for our Wi-Fi network Satish CJ, and then we'll give the wireless interface wlan 0 at the end. So this command is going to be waiting for handshake information between the victim and the access point. If it gets that handshake information, it will be capturing that, and it will be writing that to the output file with the name output. So we are waiting for handshake information here. So what we have completed just now is we have dumped the information about access points using Aircrack-ng. And not only that, we are also waiting for an handshake file, the information about handshake between the client and the access point. So an handshake will happen only when the client tries to connect to the access point. So for this, what we are going to do is we are going to do the next step, deauthenticate. We will forcefully disconnect this client from the access point by running certain commands. So once when it disconnects, it will again try to connect. So while it's trying to connect, there will be a handshake happening, and that handshake will be captured. See, we are already monitoring and waiting for the handshake file. That handshake information will be captured and returned to the output file by name output. So now let's see how to deauthenticate or how to disconnect all devices connected to this access point using AirReplay. Let's take a look at that demo now. Let us now disconnect all the devices connected to our access point, connected to our router. So for this, we'll be running a certain command using Airreplay-ng. So we are deauthenticating the devices. We are disconnecting the devices forcefully from the router. So let's run this command now. The command is sudo air replay ng hyphen deauth 0 hyphen a, and then we'll be providing the MAC address for my network Satish CJ Wi-Fi, which we have dumped already. So this is the MAC address for Satish CJ Wi-Fi, and we'll end it with WLAN 0. So this is going to forcefully de-authenticate devices from an access point. So this is like a denial of service attack. So the victim will get disconnected from the network. So that's what is happening here. And the network we are focusing on here is having the SSID Satish CJ Wi-Fi, and BSSID is shown on the screen. So now here is our poor mobile phone which we are connected to our access point. See, while I'm trying to connect to the access point, it got automatically disconnected. So when I'm trying to connect back, that four-way handshake is going to happen, and we are going to get the information captured in our output file. So that's what we are able to see here. See, our victim is forcefully disconnected. No internet connection is available on the victim. So while we are connecting back, four-way handshake is captured, and it is returned to the output file. Here is the handshake information that has been captured, and it has been returned to the output file by name output. So we have completed all these steps. We are able to monitor access points and dump information about access points. We are able to de-authenticate devices from the network, and while they were connecting back, we are able to capture the handshake file. So where this handshake information is written, the file name is output. So there is this final step, that is what is that final step we have here? The final step is we should be cracking the password from the output file. So the WPA handshake information is returned to this file by name output. We should be cracking that info using a tool called Aircrack-ng. So this is the final step. We have finished step 1, we have finished step 2, we have finished step 3, quite a long process. Now we come to step 4, cracking the password from the handshake file which we have captured. The file name that we have returned the handshake information is output. Let's take a look at how to crack the password from that specific file. So let's move on to the final step, that is we'll be cracking the password from the handshake file, and that handshake information is written to the file name, file with the name output. So let's take a look at the files. So here you see this output01.cap and output02.cap. So you should be targeting these files. The output file name that we given is output. So we'll be targeting these files for cracking the password. So these are the files containing the handshake information between the client and the access point. So let us crack the password of the victim by using a word list. So word list is nothing but a file containing commonly used passwords. So let us select a word list. So we all know where the word list is available in Kali Linux. That is in user share word list folder. So here I'm going to select one of the files. I'll select fasttrack.txt. So let's see what is there in fasttrack.txt. It is a dictionary containing commonly used passwords. So I have modified this file to contain Satish CJ as one of the passwords here, because Satish CJ is not a commonly used password. So we can use a word list, and we'll be using this specific word list in our demo now. So what is the name of the word list? It's fasttrack.txt, and you can select other word lists too. So the command that we are going to run here is Aircrack-ng. Before that, we'll go to our home directory, and we'll be running the command from there. So the command that we are going to run here is we're going to give sudo Aircrack-ng, and then we'll be giving the handshake information file. So the file that we have captured is output. So that is the file name, output01.cap. And the word list that we are going to use here, -w, and then the word list is user share word list, and the word list name is fasttrack.txt. So using the word list, it's going to try and crack the password using that handshake information file, output01.cap. but we are not able to crack that. So output 01 dot cap didn't give us the info. So we'll be now trying output 02 dot cap. So there's one more file, output 02 dot cap. We'll try this file now. So this is the file containing the handshake information between the client and the access point. So now let's try output 02 dot cap. So again we'll run this command but with this file name. So sudo aircrack-ng output 02 dot cap, and we are going to use the same word list. So here is it. So current passphrase is Satish CJ. So that is the password we use for connecting to our network, Satish CJ Wi-Fi. And yes, after a long process, finally we are able to crack the password for our Wi-Fi network. And finally, we were able to crack the password in step 4. So we have completed all these steps. Step 1, we were configuring our USB adapter with Kali Linux, and step 2, we were setting up our own Wi-Fi network with the SSID Satish CJ Wi-Fi, and we were connecting this client device, my old mobile phone, to my router. And step 3, we did a lot of things. We were monitoring, we are dumping information about the access points, we are monitoring the handshake file, we are waiting for the handshake file, and we de-authenticated the devices. And then once when we tried connecting back, we are able to capture the handshake file. And step 3 was all about capturing the handshake file, and step 4 was using Aircrack-ng to crack the password from the handshake file using a word list. So we have taken an in-depth look on what Wi-Fi hacking is all about. I hope you are clear with these steps. And if you have any questions, leave those questions as comments below. I'll be looking at those questions. And I know this was a long process, but I've taken this effort so that we'll have a clear understanding of how things work. And that's it for this session. I'll be catching you with another session with another great topic. Thank you.